No one could collide worlds better than Tom Dusenberry, who's been inside the toy industry for years. And so I'm going to turn it over to Tom and put it in his able hands. Go ahead.
Thank you, Warren. Good afternoon, everybody. I really appreciate you coming. This is an exciting panel from a point of view that we're talking about the future, and that is taking great physical product and combining it with digital product and making those worlds collide. And what's particularly exciting about this panel this afternoon is that two of the biggest hits of 2011 holiday season was Activision Skylander and Leapfrog's LeapPad. And with that, we've got panelists here that are going to be able to talk about that and show you and give you some real information as it relates to how those products were successful and what their plans are in the future. So, just to talk a little bit about this business and to give you a little background on myself, I've been in the toy and game industry for 30 years. I cut my teeth at Parker Brother Games, so I got to work on great brands such as Monopoly and Trivial Pursuit and Scrabble. And in 1995, I decided to commit my career to interactive entertainment experiences. So from that point forward, I've really been focused 100% on interactive entertainment experiences. I was first the CEO and the founder of Hasbro Interactive and Games.com. And from 2001 until now, I've been running my own business called Dusenberry Entertainment. And Dusenberry Entertainment is really focused in three things. We do a lot of consulting and strategy work for startup type companies. I'm on the board of several companies, including one of the companies that's on this panel tonight. And then I also do a lot of licensing work. My partner, Sandy Strickard, is in the crowd today. And what we do is we work with innovators throughout the world, and we combine them with publishers to make new, exciting products happen in the marketplace. And the third thing that Dusenberry Entertainment does is that it focuses on emerging technologies and emerging businesses. So we build out businesses and sell them to other companies that can take them all the way to the marketplace. So if you switch, so that's my 30 years of experience. The next slide really is just something that I want to emphasize, and that is that the killer media right now is games. And the reason that games is just becoming so prevalent in all the different medias is really the three things that is on this slide. First of all, games bring people back over and over to play. Secondly, what they do is they really create a great community. So there's a feeling of trust and there's a feeling of compassion as it relates to who you're playing your games with, and that really creates the community. And the third thing is that when you're playing those games, you stay at the site longer, so it's a sticky opportunity. So those are kind of the principles that we live by from a point of view of trying to make market opportunities happen. So if you switch to the last slide, just the last point is that I actually 9 years ago was in a movie theater, and I was thinking about, geez, it's really amazing to be in this high-end multimedia experience, and yet there was, before the movie started, there were slides that were going across the screen. And I wondered if I couldn't create an interactive experience. So I came up with the idea to take the cellular phone or the wireless device, connect that with the internet, and then connect that back to the digital projector that's in the movie theater and create an interactive loop. And that really created movie games. And I went ahead and I patented that. And after 7 long years, my patent finally came through. So I'm building out a business right now called Movie Games, which is really taking that principle of taking movie theaters and making them interactive for the future. So with that, what I'd like to do is now introduce each of the panelists to you. And what I thought I would do is ask them to introduce themselves and give a brief overview as far as who they are and what their company does. And then they're going to show you a couple of videos as it relates to what the products are. And then from that, we've got a series of questions that we're going to ask the panelists to give us some responses on. And hopefully we'll save the last 5 minutes so that you guys can ask any questions that you may have. So first, I'd like to turn it over to Jill.
Hi, I'm Jill Waller, and I'm with Leapfrog. Let me just start by asking everyone in the audience, who here has a LeapPad in their life as of the last 6 months? Oh, good showing for a high-tech crowd, I think. So you've probably heard, if you've not seen and played with it yourself, that the LeapPad has been very popular this past season. And I'm excited to be here to tell you a little bit more about that. By way of introduction to the LeapPad, I want to tell you a little bit more about Leapfrog. You can go to the next slide. So we're really in the business of educational entertainment. We're the #1 educational entertainment brand, and we've been around for 15 years building educational products and making them entertaining and compelling for kids in the toy aisle at retail. We have expertise in-house. We have 3 PhDs that are education-focused that are very integrated into our development process. We also obviously have a lot of play experts and game development experts as well. And our formula ends up being this great content that's both educational and entertaining, wrapped in the right platform solution. So without further ado, I'll tell you a little bit more about the LeapPad. If you weren't here earlier today. So the LeapPad we designed just for kids. It's a $99 tablet product. It's sold in the toy aisle, but I think it's gone beyond that. It's a 5-inch screen, 2 gigabytes. You know, so it's got some good specs to stand up to even the tablet industry, and more broadly. But what we're really proud of with the LeapPad is the content that goes behind it, all of those educational entertainment experiences, as well as that great camera and video recorder that we were able to get into the product. You wouldn't believe how much interaction the kids get from that, and really kind of discovering their world with that. And finally, I think the #1 reason to have a tablet that's just for kids, I'm going to show you the reason right now. Should have done this earlier. That's why. That's why we need a tablet just for kids. Because kids, if they're walking around and bringing their tablet wherever they go, they're going to drop it. You don't want them to do that to your iPad. The next one. This is just a little bit more about the experience of the LeapPad, the key experiences that define it. We've got over 100 ways to play and learn, from cartridge games that actually uses the cartridges from the Explorer platform. It also uses our apps. We have an app center that we launched in August. We've got about 70 apps in that store right now, games that we've developed with an educational backbone to them, as well as great videos and ebooks and ultra ebooks, another patented Leapfrog product. What else do I have there? Creativity through the camera and the video recorder, as well as animation, drawing, all these things. That the tablet is such a great kind of palette for kids to expand the way that they're interacting with technology and learning. And finally, Nancy knows a little bit about this. There's a very parent-focused interactive feature with the LeapPad, which is called Learning Path. And parents can find out what their kids have been doing, what their kids have been playing, what they've been learning through our Learning Path. They can also upload to Facebook and announce to their friends and family what the kids have been doing and how they've been accomplishing different educational goals. So that's an introduction to LeapPad, and I'll be interested to talk more.
Thank you. Jill?
Hi, my name's Jill Hamburger. The name of my company is Vida Gaming. Vida Gaming, I work on project-based projects really centering around gaming and the retail industry, and I'm really more on a referral basis. I'm here more from a retail perspective. I spent 20 years of my career at Best Buy. I left Best Buy as the VP of games and of movies. Prior to that, I was in the toy industry for 5 years, and I started my career in ready-to-wear. So my purpose on the panel, I look forward to the next half hour, is to give the retail perspective.
Nance?
So I was a little confused by when worlds collide, since I'm actually working in the apps business now. But you know, Tom actually hired me at Hasbro Interactive to run the interactive toy business, which was the first generation of toys that plugged into the computer, and Jill was one of our major customers, as I remember. But I'm a graduate of Hasbro and a graduate of Leapfrog, and I have the utmost respect for kids and learning and tech. But I became completely and totally obsessed by the possibilities around touch and the possibilities that every phone or every tablet could be a learning opportunity for kids. And I started a company early last year called Fingerprint around this idea that you could connect parents and kids around learning and great content, and that relationship between the parent and the child could make a social mobile experience that spanned from not just device to device, but from child to parent, parent to grandparent, and really expand the whole community around learning all made possible by the various devices that are available in the market. We also realized early on that to make this work was going to require bringing best in quality developers onto our platform. So just a little pitch here. If you're a developer, if you're an educator, if you're a content creator, if you're Leapfrog or Disney or Nickelodeon, we would love to talk to you about our platform and participating in what we think will be the next big thing to happen in the kid space.
Hi, my name's John Coyne. I'm the VP of Marketing for Activision. And I'm also the AV guy for the panel, so bear with me. That's not my usual job. You know, my career is really a case of when careers collide, because I spent 12 of the last 15 years working with toy companies like Activision, like Spin Master and Mattel. And then the last 3 years, I've been working in the more digital space, working at Activision, most recently on a product called Skylanders. Have any of you played Skylanders or seen Skylanders? Do any of you who have kids who are looking for Skylanders at the moment and can't find them anywhere? Yes, that man over there. Talk to me later. I can maybe hook you up. For those of you who haven't seen Skylanders, I'm going to show you a couple of videos. The first sort of introduces you to the Skylanders themselves and the world of Skylands. And the second shows you the reaction that kids have to when something transformed from the physical to the virtual.
You know, when I look at this panel, I find it amazing when you think about you know, how we're seeing this convergence happening, because everybody on this panel both has toy and interactive experience. And I think that that's really important to look at from a point of view that when you see that these worlds that are colliding, you're seeing that careers are colliding as well. And everybody's got that toy experience or that interactive experience, and they're going back and forth. So that's one point that I think that, you know, everybody should take away from this. We are a little short on time because of the last presentation, and I promised Warren that we would try to stay on schedule as much as we can. So I'm going to ask one question of the panel and have them dialogue on it, and then I'm going to ask you, the audience, to do 1 or 2 questions. So start thinking about questions you might want to ask the panel. I find it amazing because as we see these worlds colliding, you know, it's really going to be a challenge from a publisher and a retailer's point of view, because they now need to accommodate the digital world. And I'd love to hear the panel talk a little bit about what the publishers and what the retailers are doing to make sure that they adjust to this new digital world and how they're making it fit into their business model. Jill, we can start with you.
Sure. So as I mentioned, Leapfrog has been in the retail aisle for about 15 years, and we continue to be there and be there strongly. This coming year, we'll actually expand our space in the aisle, but there is this question about the physical product and then the digital product. And what we come back to is, where does the consumer want to buy that product? We want the product to be available wherever the consumer's interested in it. And what we've found so far is that the consumer, when they first encounter our product, it's in aisle. So we want to be able to provide that hardware and the software solutions that go with it, whether it's cartridge or an app card that gets you to our app center.
And right now, what's the ratio between cartridges and then the app card?
We don't reveal the exact numbers, but suffice it to say that our retail business is still quite strong. We can see that will be moving over time, just like, you know, music has, video has, all different kinds of things. What we do is keep a very close pulse on what's going on with the consumer. For the past year and a half, we've been checking with the consumer monthly on how they would like to purchase their digital content, how they would like to experience that and purchase that. And what we've seen, the most recent December information is 25% of people really want that physical content. And that could be our cartridge, that could be a music CD, something like that. 25% are completely converted. They only want it digital. They want to store everything digitally, have it in that same place. But then the massive middle, 50%, are kind of ambidextrous when it comes to content. They're going to pick it up where they see it, where they want it, depending exactly on how they want to use it. But they're not biased one way or another. So this is probably a snapshot in time, right? But it's interesting to see that a lot of people are open to and are purchasing in both fashions.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Jill, do you want to comment a little bit about how a retailer's handling the digital world?
I think from a retail perspective, most importantly is they want to participate. So you've got retailers that historically it's all been physical. So I think the challenge is, first and foremost, is one, making sure they have the right people and the right organization to support it. But then from a product perspective, making sure that they can merchandise it, they can talk about it in terms of using either their website, working that way, or from an in-store perspective. Physical still becomes very, very important to what Jill just said. I think the first manifestation in a lot of retailers is a physical product. So when I think from a gaming perspective, everybody has gone towards having the physical game cards, which takes you out to a digital experience. If you're doing it right and working closely with that game site, is that there's some sort of messaging that pushes you back to retail. The other thing that I think retailers are very involved in is what is the exclusive piece. So be it a game site or be it physical games, is there downloadable content or exclusive assets that you can only get at that particular retailer. So those are very important, and I think the messaging of, I think Skylanders, I was just talking about it before we came up here, did a fabulous job in terms of the in-store display. So really working closely with the retailers in terms of how do you explain that message? That's probably the most difficult, is how do I explain to a consumer, especially a mom, that this physical product takes you to a digital experience and how that works, what's the tools and equipment. And I think retailers are also participating in terms of providing service and connections and maybe other devices that help you get to that digital experience. So retailers, some of them have taken different paths than others. We're still in experimental stages, but they have to work very closely with that publisher, manufacturer, of how I'm going to get that message across and how am I going to participate in that sale.
Yeah, thank you. I think that that's a really important point, because if you see what Leapfrog and what Activision did, is that they really participated with their retail partners, and their in-store displays were second to none. So they were really addressing directly how to tell the consumer about the product. Nance?
I would add that, I think we're seeing these products act more like services now. And, I think we're going to begin to see retailers sort of ask the question around, I've got your product here, I'm not going to see the benefit of the long-term software play, just like we've seen in the video game business. And we're going to begin to see retailers really start to offer services, value-add services that help them solve their margin issues around, not just guarantees and warranties, but also, can they provide additional content? Can they provide customer service above and beyond the manufacturer, as well as things we probably haven't even contemplated yet, because we're seeing the whole games business shift to software as a service, and I think we're going to begin to see this happen in this category as well.
Yeah, good. With Activision, I found it fascinating because at the Toy Fair last year, there was all these toy companies, and they were all fighting over the $10 and under type market, and then there was like this beacon of light, and all of a sudden it was Activision that came from left field, and they had this big display, and they really said, hey, we want to be partners to the retail business. And I found it right then and there that they were really taking it serious, and the end result was they worked with those partners and they had a blowout success. So I'd love to hear from John, a little bit more about how that worked.
Well, thank you for the props. Yeah, I mean, Skylanders is a physical product, and I think with kids at play, the physical product is something still that is very important, because it sort of helps unlock their imagination. I think what Skylanders does very well is combine both the deep immersive play of video games with that physical connection to a toy, and the way it does it is very magical and very fluid. And so, as Jill said, what we were very cognizant of is how do we bring that experience to retail, because it was something that was not really seen before, and we wanted kids to experience it and get excited about it. So we did invest pretty heavily and work with our retail partners to make sure that we got as many of those interactive portals out around the world as possible, so kids could experience the physical becoming virtual. And Tom, thank you for mentioning Toy Fair. We'll be at Toy Fair again this year, where we'll be unveiling our new Skylanders adventure.
Good, thank you, John. So we have time for one question in the audience. Does anybody have a specific question that they'd like to ask? And the answer is no. Would you?
With Skylanders, you were supporting multiple platforms. How has that been for developing, and what are some of the challenges that you face?
Well, as you can imagine, when you're trying to make something platform agnostic, it wasn't the easiest of things to do. But again, we thought that was sort of key to the product offering, because we see Skylanders as a digital playground where kids we wanted them to be able to take their own Skylanders and go over to their friend's house and bring their characters to life in their friend's game. And in order to do that, it needed to be platform agnostic, and the toy needed to remember everything it was doing. So it was a challenge, but I think it really sort of speaks and helps enhance the play experience.
Good, thank you. So to summarize, we really are seeing this convergence in the marketplace, and what the people that are on this panel are really the pioneers, and they are really making the market happen. And what I'm really excited about, and I've been excited about for the last 30 years, is that this industry has a propensity to create new billion-dollar markets. And I think between what Leapfrog is trying to do and what Activision is trying to do, mark my word, within 3 or 4 years, those will be new billion-dollar businesses that we will all be focused on. So I think that you, the audience, are pioneers as well, because you get it, you're here, and you're trying to interpret that to make that a big part of your business. And the more you embrace the convergence between physical and virtual, I think the more successful you'll be over the next 5 years or so. So thank you very much for coming to our panel today. Thank you.